All right, welcome. I guess we may as well get started. So first off, today no joke, but instead today is U.S. Constitution Day, and as an educational institute that takes government funds, we're asked to do a little bit in our classes about the U.S. Constitution. We actually receive a directive from our dean, leaving it up to us what we do. But I just thought that in lieu of a joke, what I'd do is I'd just bring up 13 fun facts about the Constitution. On September 17th, only 39 of the 55 delegates to the Constitutional Convention signed the document. I think New York was not one of the states that signed the document. I'm not positive, but I think the representative from New York had to travel home to get approval from the governing body of New York State. That's my memory. That could be wrong. It's kind of cool that the original Constitution was only 5 pages long. There's 3 Latin phrases. We're still, I think, the shortest Constitution. I'm not seeing that there, but I think that might be down a little bit further. There's 3 Latin phrases. James Madison is the father of the Constitution. He had some misgivings, and his misgivings resulted in the writing of the Federalist, which were a series of papers that were designed to explain what the Constitution actually meant in its 5 pages and the thinking of the delegates as they created it. It wasn't signed in 1776. It was signed in 1787, and September 17th, 1787 is here. That's why we're here. George Washington sat in a chair. This was, I don't know if this is anecdotal, but Ben Franklin is quoted as having said about the chair he sat in with the sun, half sun on the back, was that he was trying to decide if it was rising or setting. And when it was over, the Constitution Convention was over and the Constitution signed, he decided it was rising. Franklin was 81 when he signed the Constitution, which is kind of cool. Let's see. John Chalice wrote the Constitution for $30, but it was only 5 pages, $6 a page. Seems like a pretty good deal. Rhode Island refused to sign it. We could have had instead of POTUS, President of the United States, we could have HHPOTUSAPOTL. All right, guys. Let's keep this civil, right? The U.S. Constitution is the shortest governing document of any nation today. It has only 7 articles and 27 amendments. Norway was codified in 1814. It's the second shortest. And there is at least 1 grammatical error in the Constitution. So there you go for our fun facts about the U.S. Constitution. Let's see. All right, so let's move on with our class for today. I guess we'll start off with housekeeping as usual. There's a couple things that we got to talk about. One is today is Thursday. That would normally mean that your homeworks are due today. It does mean we're going to give you time on homework 1. You're going to have till Sunday night because of kind of the pile up at the this week of the semester. We have lecture exercises 2 through 5 due last night. We want to give you a little bit of a break. So take your time, work on homework 1. It is due Sunday night, but you do have homework 2 looming. It's already out on the it's already out on the sorry, in the why didn't that switch? Son of a gun. All right, it's already out on the course materials page. It's in two different, the folder was mistyped this time. We'll fix that. But it's in two different places, but you'll see that they are in yellow, and they're in yellow because they won't go live until midnight tonight. But they are available. They will be live at midnight tonight if you have time, and if you're up, you can grab them at that point. All right, here's what it looks like. One thing that I do want to... Okay, that's not what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. One thing I do want to point out is we do have a statement of our excess collaboration policy. This is a brief statement of it. We're going to abide by this pretty severely, or pretty stringently. We have automated software that allows us to check on it, and we're pretty good at checking on it. So I do want to point out that if you want to see the full policy, it is right here. That is live already. And the important thing is to read over these guidelines, because they kind of tell you, we know that you're going to work together. We want you to help one another. But there are the right ways to do it and the wrong ways to do it. And the wrong way to do it ends up with you submitting the same code as somebody else. And the right way to do it ends up with you helping somebody else to understand, but still be able to and actually write their own code. So there's really some pretty clear lines. The important thing is you don't want to show anyone your code. If somebody has their homework done, they're submitted, and they're helping you debug, that's one thing. If they're still going to do their homework, that's something else. Keep your homework protected. Make sure that you write your own code. Don't, you have to start from a blank page and write it. Otherwise, it'll be very derivative of somebody else's. You don't want to be a typist. In other words, you don't want somebody to be there standing behind you telling you what to write. You want to develop the ideas yourself. You can discuss how to do something. You can ask for help with syntax. But don't just be the typist for somebody else's version of your program. And that goes for working with the TAs and mentors as well. We want you guys to have the best opportunity to succeed both in this course and afterward. And that means that we need to get you comfortable with these concepts. And you don't get comfortable with these concepts like just by typing in what somebody else says. For example, my son got his license a couple years ago. When we were first learning to drive, when I was first teaching him how to drive, he knew where nothing was. He didn't know how to get to anything in the town because I'd always been driving him around and he'd been sitting in the passenger seat or the back seat not paying attention. So now part of teaching him to drive was also teaching him the layout of the town and how to get places and what the right roads were to take and what the traffic patterns were like. But he didn't learn that until he was actually the one responsible for driving. You need to be the driver, right? You can't let somebody else drive for you and just be a passenger on your own code. This is a tough one. When you're helping somebody debug, it's very easy to get in a mode where you are telling them how to fix their code. And you're telling them how to fix their code by making it look like your code, because that's the way you understand it. It's very difficult sometimes to figure out what they're doing, how they're doing something, and how to help them figure out why their stuff is wrong without pushing them down the road that you want them to go down. And that's something that we work very hard on as instructors and TAs and mentors. And it's not necessarily all that easy to do. So please be careful when you're helping somebody. And this last one is one that I hate having to actually have in here. I personally don't like having any of these in here because I don't, this is not, we don't want this to be a punitory course, but we do need people to learn. And in order for people to learn, they have to be able to develop their own solutions. And if we don't require them to develop their own solutions, then we get people coming out of the class who really don't know as much as they could, and it hurts them later. So we're trying to be as beneficial to everybody as possible, whether it seems like it or not. This, however, is one that I really dislike because be careful with your code. Every semester, we have people come in, we find them matching somebody else, and they come in and, we hear that they left their computer open in the library, or they were working at a table and they got up to use the facilities. Maybe that's not a problem this semester, but please protect your code. We can't tell, if two codes match. We can't tell where it originated from, and we can't necessarily tell how that happened, whether it was voluntary or involuntary. So protect yourself. Don't assume that everybody is well-intentioned, and please take care of yourselves with regard to the code. We do have some penalties. I think you guys can read those. The first one is a 0 on the homework and a 5% reduction on the semester grade. That's the top penalty for a single infraction, and after that, it goes down to an F in the course. I say that's the top penalty for a single infraction. If we do find people stealing code, that is something of a different issue. So anyway, please read this document over. It's not that long. It's less than 2 pages. It's half the size of the U.S. Constitution as originally written. All right, please pay attention to that. Please, don't. That is not the fun part of my semester. So I don't like doing it, and I would appreciate it if we didn't have to. So please do your own work. Help each other, but don't copy. Make sure you do it well. This will become of increasing importance as we go through the semester in some sense. All right. What else did we have in housekeeping? Was that it? Yeah, that's pretty much it, except for we want to wrap up Lecture 5. So we were almost done with Lecture 5 yesterday, or